Children, will continue with the chapter Polynomials. Our next video is based on the geometrical representation of zeros of the polynomial. Now, how many different types of polynomial did we learn? We learned about linear polynomial, quadratic polynomial, cubic polynomial. Now, we can represent this with the help of graph. Okay. Graph of any polynomial can be drawn in the coordinate plane. First, we learn about linear polynomial. What is the general form of the linear polynomial? It is ax plus b. And what will be the graph of any linear polynomial? It will be always a straight line. This you have learned last year. Y is equal to ax plus b. So, the graph of a linear polynomial will be always a straight line. Okay? Next, quadratic polynomial. What is the general form of a quadratic polynomial? Ax square plus bx plus c, where a not equal to 0. A second degree polynomial is called a quadratic polynomial. General form is ax square plus bx plus c. And the shape of the graph of a quadratic polynomial is a U-shaped graph. It can be either upwards or it can be a downward. This U-shaped graph is called as parabola. So, what is the graph of a quadratic polynomial? The graph of a quadratic polynomial is a parabola. Now, if a is greater than 0, if a is greater than 0, we get an upward parabola, and if a is less than 0, we get a downward parabola. I think that word is new to you, parabola. A U-shaped graph is called parabola. If a is greater than 0 in a quadratic polynomial, we get an upward parabola, and if a is less than 0, downward parabola. Polynomial of a degree 2 has at most 2 zeros. Second degree equation, second degree polynomial. So, how many zeros do we have? We will get 2 zeros. At most 2 zeros. There can be cases where there is no solution. There can be cases where you get one solution, and there can be polynomials where you get 2 zeros. So, from the graph, we can understand the number of zeros. Now, look here, children. In the first graph, a parabola. So, if it is a parabola, definitely it is a second degree polynomial. Does the parabola touch the x-axis? No, the parabola does not touch the x-axis. Then we can say that the number of zeros is equal to 0. Now, here the parabola touches the x-axis at one point. So, that means we can say that there is one solution for the quadratic polynomial. And case 3, here the parabola touches the x-axis at 2 points. So, the number of zeros will be equal to 2. As the graph touches the x-axis, we can find the number of zeros for the quadratic polynomial. So, 3 cases are there. What are the 3 cases? The parabola is not touching the x-axis. So, number of zeros is equal to 0. When the parabola touches the x-axis at one point, number of 0 is equal to 1, or number of solution will be 1. If the graph touches the x-axis at 2 points, then there are 2 solutions. Number of zeros is equal to 2. Our third polynomial, cubic polynomial. The general form of a cubic polynomial is ax cube plus bx square plus cx plus d, a third degree polynomial. Any polynomial of degree 3 can have at most 3 zeros. So, here you can see there is a graph drawn. It touches the x-axis at how many points? This is the first point, second point, third point. So, how many zeros does this cubic polynomial have? It will be 3. So, for a linear polynomial, the graph will be a straight line. For a quadratic polynomial, the graph is a parabola. If a is greater than 0, upward parabola, a is less than 0, downward parabola. Polynomial of degree 2 can have at most 2 zeros. No 0, 1 0, 2 0, depending on the graph touching the x-axis. A cubic polynomial of degree 3 can have at most 3 zeros. Depending on the graph touching the x-axis, we can find the number of zeros for a cubic polynomial. Now, your exercise 2.1, you can take your textbook and check. Find the number of zeros. The first graph is drawn here. This is the first graph, a straight line drawn. Does it touch the x-axis? No, it does not touch the x-axis. So, number of zeros will be 0. In the second question, the graph touches the x-axis at how many points? 1 point. So, number of 0 will be equal to 1. Fifth and the sixth question. For the fifth question, graph is drawn. You have to find the number of zeros. Check, children, how many times the graph is touching the x-axis? 1, 2, 3, 4. So, how many zeros or how many solutions for this polynomial? You will get 4 solutions. And for the sixth one, 1, 2, 3. Number of zeros will be 3. You have to draw the graphs, small pictures into your notebook, and then you can write the number of zeros next to that. In that exercise, subdivision 3 and subdivision 4, we didn't do it here. So, this will be a homework for you. So, exercise 2.1 of the 6 problems, we did 4, 2 problems will be homework.